All right. Hashtag baseball only show. JML here. Frank over there.
Whoa,
Merry Christmas,
ho,
everyone.
ho,
Even though it's
ho.
not Christmas yet. Uh, yeah, so we were just going to convene about the free agent signings, and this kind of fell into our laps. Let's
Every
switch the
time, right?
screen here. Yeah.
Every time we're going to do a show, something happens.
So we were all under the impression Carlos Correa was signing with I almost said New York Giants, San
Yeah,
Francisco Giants for 13 years. What was it, 350? That
right.
deal?
Uh, yeah, 350, I think.
Yeah. Uh, and they were supposed to have a press conference. They held
Yesterday.
off on the press conference yesterday, citing something wrong. Not something wrong, but something they didn't like in his physical. And then early hours this morning, Carlos Correa signs with the Mets for 12 years, 315 million. Now, I was shocked that he originally signed with the Giants.
Yeah, I think we both were. Most people were, maybe.
It seemed like the Giants were just wanted to spend the money because they
Yeah,
didn't get Judge. They threw the money at Correa.
right.
It seems like neither side wanted into that marriage.
Yeah,
That's what it seems like to me.
that's starting to look like that to me as well. Maybe this is their way of just backing out of the deal, and they were more than happy to say, okay, we'll do that. I don't think the fans are going to be very happy, but it's a pretty convenient way to do it too, because you can't discuss medical stuff. So,
Yeah.
it's a convenient excuse. Although I don't think their fans are really buying that. They're not very happy right now. And I understand that.
Yep. And real quick as well, this show is available on Spotify. Uh, so you can listen to the audio only version of the hashtag baseball only show on Spotify and other. You said you found it on Google, Frank?
Yeah, actually, if you search us on Google Podcasts, you will find it. You can subscribe because I did.
Awesome. Yeah. So
Yeah, it's out there.
we're we're trying to get this show on different platforms because not everyone has YouTube Premium and can listen
Yeah,
on the go.
right. And I know I like to listen to my podcast audio usually too, because it's easier. Like you said, on the go. You don't have to download. You can download it on your podcast app. You can stream it, whatever you like to do. If you get tired of looking at our faces, you can listen to our
Yeah.
audio versions. But
Yeah.
yeah, awesome.
Um, and, these kind of deals, it always seems like Scott Boras is the agent involved
Yeah,
every single time. So he took less money and less years to sign with the Mets. But
right.
I remember thinking he was going to be a Met originally. Like they were hot on the heels
Yeah,
of signing him. And then the Giants swooped in and got him because they did the pivot off of Judge once Judge agreed to go back to New York. Can you make sense of this for me?
I don't know if I can make sense of it. Um, yeah, I mean it makes more sense actually than him signing with the Giants, like you said. I know they had money earmarked for Judge. They wanted. I think it sounds like they just wanted to spend the money. They wanted to spend the money on him, knowing that they're not maybe winning right now, but they wanted like a superstar to build around, someone that's a hometown. It's a story you can sell. It's a way to sell tickets, sell merch. Correa will do that as well, but it's not the same feeling, and you know, it might not be for a couple of years if they built around him. He might obviously had instant regret, just like you know last year when he took that deal with the Twins, knowing that he could opt out after 1 year because I don't think he wanted to stay there long term, obviously.
I think the
Um,
fans,
yeah,
um, it's very hard to embrace Correa.
yeah.
I guess Mets fans are. What's the word on the streets there in New
I,
York?
I mean, I know enough Mets fans. They seem to be very elated. I'll shout out my buddy Ben there. Let me know he was almost had tears in his eye this morning. I'll embarrass him by telling him that. He probably
I
won't be,
mean,
but yeah, not the fact. It's just not Correa per se. It's just the idea that they would go out and spend because I know they've never done that. So
he is a
they've
great
gone
base.
the complete opposite extreme than their previous ownership at this point.
He is a great baseball player. It's
Yeah, he is. I mean, they needed an upgrade. Like I said, they spent a lot of money so far, and it's mostly been on pitching, and then it's pretty much been the same lineup. So they have. It's kind of like the obvious comparisons, which we heard already today, which makes sense. A-Rod and Jeter, if he's moving to third base, apparently. Although
even
Lindor
though
moved to third,
even though he's the better shortstop.
he's better shortstop. So it's exactly pretty much the Jeter A-Rod stuff. Although it seems like their relationship is still good, unlike when that happened. But it's interesting. Hey, it's exciting in New York right now. That's all I can say. Me still being here, but yeah, I mean they're not used to doing that. It's funny. I think I sent you a post. I forgot who posted it. Was this that the Mets are doing right now what people used to say the Yankees were doing?
Yeah,
like post dynasty, like around about 20 years ago when Boston dubbed them the Evil Empire because they signed They signed Jose Contreras and they made them the Evil Empire. They weren't spending this kind of money. We're talking like historic. It was over $500 million with the tax. And hey, if you got the money,
I'll pull up the.
But I'll put it this way, man. I mean, you got a lot of owners worth a lot of money, taking a lot of revenue sharing money, and they're not spending it.
For the YouTube,
I think what's going to happen now, maybe.
Viewers.
Oh yeah, go ahead. What's going to happen? This is going to cause, we'll talk more about it later, but owners are definitely going to be like, instead of with the obvious thing,
it's going to be a hard cap.
They're going to want a hard cap because of what Colin's doing. And it's ridiculous. I'm like, instead of them spending money, instead of them like giving them incentives to spend money and say, hey, if you don't spend this money, you're not going to get this revenue sharing anymore.
Well, I'm okay if they do like you said, like a floor cap, like you have to spend X amount of money.
100%. Because this taxing is not really doing anything other than giving money to teams who are not spending it. So what is it doing?
Like look at the NBA, right? The NBA, there's so much parity because the teams can only spend a certain amount of money, and the teams that are allowed to go over the cap is to re-sign their existing players.
They have what they call max contracts. You don't have that in baseball, obviously. It's just up to what people are willing to spend, and nobody's been willing to go this far before, but nobody's ever tested it.
So Steve Cohen, the owner of the Mets, he's the richest owner in baseball.
He's spending like he is. So I mean,
Guggenheim. Right? Isn't he like ahead of the Guggenheim or something like that?
Yeah, he's something like that. He's obviously got a nice stream of funds here. He's just like you're right. He's a Mets fan. He grew up a Mets fan, and he's like he had a chance to purchase his favorite team, and he's pretty much doing what we do in video games, right?
He's doing what Tony Khan's doing with AEW.
Yes, this is the Tony Khan of Major League Baseball, for sure.
I almost called him Andy Cohen. Steve Cohen has signed 9 free agents this winter at a cost of $806 million. According to Baseball Prospectus, the Mets' payroll for 2023 is $384.3 million, which incurs a luxury tax hit of $111.6 million. Cohen will pay more in taxes next season than 7 teams are paying in payroll.
Listen, look at that.
Let that sink in. Let's take 5 seconds. We're not going to say anything. Let that sink in. Okay. Now that sunk in.
Sunk in a little bit.
Wouldn't you want to have an owner that does this? I mean, there's some moves that he's made, and I'm like, okay, that's an overpay. Nimmo, overpay. Verlander, it's probably an overpay. Carlos Correa, maybe the years, but certainly not the contract per year.
Right.
Senga is really not that bad of a deal if you look at it. People thought he was going to get a lot more than 5 for 75. Considering the outfielder Yoshida got a monster contract from the Red Sox. They didn't do too bad when it came to picking up free agent pitchers. I know that they lost Bassett. They lost, obviously, DeGrom. But Senga, Verlander, who was the other one that we mentioned? Quintana.
Yeah.
They certainly made up for it.
Yeah.
They have a surplus right now. I heard that Carlos Carrasco is on the trade block for them.
I'm sure. I mean, yeah, they definitely have a surplus, and you can never have enough pitching, right? So,
They have David Peterson. They got McGill.
and
Obviously,
I'm
they still
hearing
have
something about a
Scherzer.
trade. Obviously, the only other thing you could think about, because they mentioned something about a bullpen, and the only thing people can really say with that, it would be something in the trade market. So we might be talking,
Well, they
Liam
signed
Hendriks.
David Robertson.
They did sign David Robertson.
They signed Edwin Diaz to a monster extension.
Right. But they're still talking about bullpen. So the only person people can logically think of is the White Sox closer, Hendricks. But I don't even know if you need to do that.
Do you think it's really weird?
If you're giving that kind of money.
Is everyone out on Aroldis Chapman?
Sounds like it.
Like, I haven't heard one team even send out a feeler on him.
He seems like he's just going to be a guy that quietly signs maybe sometime in spring training or something.
Is he like going to be like Corey Kluber, where he's going to have, or like David Robertson,
Yeah,
where he's going to have all these teams have to watch him,
right,
for someone to sign him? Like, maybe it's just he needed to get out of New York. Maybe he got, or the Yankees, right?
Uh-huh.
Maybe his relationship with Boone. Maybe he can go to the Mets. Maybe he can go to a team like the Dodgers, or I don't know.
I can take a chance, yeah, because I mean,
yeah, it's just a weird situation.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with him. I mean, obviously he didn't make anybody want to go after him after his season, but that's gonna be something that comes out of nowhere. And either he's gonna be like you said, a Kluber type, or he's gonna go somewhere. I think we discussed it last show. He'll just show up in another team, and that may not be what he used to be, but be better pitcher. Maybe he'll have his control back. That's basically what his problem is.
I just think it's the confidence.
Confidence is gone. He doesn't have confidence in his fastball anymore. But if he can find that confidence again, even at throwing high 90s, he can still get guys out.
So this is an interesting quote by Boris. This is a Sports Illustrated article. He's a shortstop who always was going to go to third base at some point. He's going to a club with a chance to win now, and he's a player who always has loved the vibe of New York City and playing in New York City.
Yeah. Well, since when, right?
Okay.
Okay. Boris loves to talk. He's going to cut a good promo. But yeah. I mean, there was I've heard a lot of the so-called Yankee fans who were like, "Oh, are you going to sign Correa?" I'm like, yeah. I don't know about you. I know your answer. I wouldn't go for it. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. There's too much history there.
Interesting enough, this was the anniversary 46 years ago. Yankees owner George Steinbrenner signed Reggie Jackson, what was the first market of full free agency. That signing happened a few weeks after Steinbrenner signed free agent Don Gullett. The Yankees won the World Series the next 2 years. In competing against, interesting enough, the Expos and Padres for Reggie Jackson, Steinbrenner admitted he was leveraging his advantage of being in New York.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, the story was pretty famous too. Like Reggie will tell the story how George took him out of the town in the city, and that kind of won him over even more.
So, talking about the Yankees, nice segue. The press conference officially announced the Judge. I'm going to call it an extension because that's really what it is. 9 years. What was it at this point? 360.
Mm-hmm.
I guess worst kept secret in the history of baseball. The 16th captain of the New York Yankees. Jeter was there. Willie Randolph was there.
Yeah,
is Guidry sick, or does he have a bad relationship with the Yankees? Like, what's going on?
I don't know. I mean,
because technically he was the last captain prior to.
Well, him and Randolph are co-captains before Mattingly, yeah. So yeah, I don't know. He hasn't been around. You're right. Lately, I know he was pitching coach not too long ago, and he also worked for them in other capacities.
I know he showed up to spring trainings and stuff, but
yeah, I don't know if it's going. Hopefully, he's all right. Yeah, I mean, obviously, once you saw Jeter, like even this morning when I saw they showed him there, I'm like, yeah, obviously, we already knew, but it was just
It's
a matter
good
of
to
whether or
see
not he
Jeter.
signed.
It's good to see Jeter
It's
back
good to
with
see him back,
the
and he's
Yankees.
taking part in a lot of stuff. That's good for morale. It's good the fans like to see it. It's a good look. He seems to be enjoying
Isn't there a
himself.
rumor that they're trying to get him to call games?
I'm sure. Yeah, there was. I mean, I'm sure they love to try it. I don't know. He himself has said he doesn't not interested in doing it, but yeah, I mean, they'll find something for him to do if he wants to do it. Like he can call up, the team tomorrow and say, "Hey, I want to do this." They'll probably say, "Sure." If he calls up the yes number and says, "Hey, can I do some games?" I'm sure they won't have a problem with that. What else is happening here? Yeah, so crazy couple days. Obviously, a week ago, he's a Giant. Judge was a Giant for about 5 minutes, even though he himself put in his words today when this was going on, he was on a plane. So we still don't know where that rumor came from, or was that something they leaked to try to drum up interest? We'll never know, I guess.
Yeah,
but it's kind of cool that that all worked out that way. It was interesting.
we also have.
But we're getting to a point now where this Correa move. It's like you pretty much anytime there's a big person going to be available, you're going to put the Mets in that conversation. That hasn't been the case. So good for you guys, I guess I would say. Owner wants to spend his money.
That's fine.
That's good. It's good for the game. It's good for the city. It's good. And I'm not being salty when I'm saying that, guy. I know we're going to hear some stuff like that. Listen.
No, but eventually.
Nobody complains about the Yankees more than Yankee fans. So.
Listen, their team they fielded last year should have probably been a World Series team.
Yeah.
It just didn't work out.
Just didn't work out. Nothing is 100% for sure. You can spend $1 billion.
Now, just think about it. Their infield, you got Pete Alonso, you got McNeil at second.
Right.
You have at short Lindor, at third Correa. Didn't Jeff McNeil win the batting title again? Francisco Lindor had a comeback season. Carlos Correa is a perennial all-star. Alonso's a perennial all-star.
Yeah.
That infield is stacked. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Their weak points, I guess, in their lineup. So they really don't. They have that platoon at DH with Vogelbach and forget the other dude. It's the platoon that they have going. But I mean, they have to be the odds, but the Vegas favorites out of the National League, you would think. Unless it's the Braves.
Yeah, I mean the Braves are still going to be a pretty favorite team, but I mean on paper you would think.
And mind you, in the NL East, the Phillies came out of the East. That division's a buzzsaw.
Yeah, it's a tough division, man. There's no guarantees, like I said, and there's no even if you win a division, doesn't do anything necessary for you. The Braves won out last year, and they didn't make it out of the first division series. So there's no guarantees in life. You can only try to get yourself there, and that's what they're doing.
The Dodgers have had a relatively quiet offseason. They did sign JD Martinez. I like that move.
Yeah, it's kind of quiet move there under the radar.
It was like them in Boston just traded players. Like Justin Turner went to the Red Sox.
Yeah.
JD went to the Dodgers. But if JD is healthy, that guy can hit.
Yeah.
You put him in that lineup. It's not bad. The biggest thing with the Dodgers is how's their pitching staff going to hold up?
Yeah.
Kershaw's another year. Walker Buehler, you have no idea when he's coming back. Arias, is he going to hold on? Is he going to be the ace that they think he is, that he was last year? They have a lot of question marks. That bullpen's held together with duct tape. And Dave Roberts hasn't been that great of a manager.
They're holding up. Yeah, they're kind of banged up right now. I mean, they're kind of aging for them. All the money they spend, they're kind of an aging team.
And they still have the Trevor Bauer thing looming.
Yeah, that's another thing looming over their heads, which apparently they want no part of. So that's going to end interestingly, I'm sure.
They're going to have to pay somewhere else.
You're right. They're always going to be favorites because of the talent they have in their team. But I wouldn't blame anybody if you were favoring the Padres this year. Obviously, I think in the last episode we just missed the Padres
Xander.
news with Bogarts. So obviously they made another big signing.
Did we miss Trey Turner too, or did Turner already sign? Turner signed.
Turner had signed already. Yeah, it's funny. We just actually, I think the minute we got off the air the last time is when I heard about Yoshi going to the Red Sox, and the next day Bogarts was announced for the Padres.
Yeah.
Obviously, they made another move. They got Soto in that trade last year. They've not been able to re-sign him yet. I think he turned down a deal from them, just like he did from the Nationals.
He's going to go to free agency.
I believe so too. It'd be stupid not to at this point. At that age, he'll be a young age. Come on.
But here's the thing: isn't he also represented by Boris?
Yeah, that should be really interesting. Is he going to wind up in Met now? I don't know.
Is he But is he going to end up a Giant, or did they have Boris spurn his opportunities with the Giants?
I don't know.
Dansby Swanson went to the Cubs.
Interesting move.
The Cubs have made a few deals this offseason.
They've tried.
They've made more deals than anyone else in the Central. I mean, really, all the Cardinals did was they signed Contreras to replace Yadier. And you're never going to replace Yadier.
Yeah, it's not easy to do, obviously. But, they haven't really done much. Several teams haven't done much here. It's kind of shocking. Will we see a robust trade market now up into spring training?
Who signed Brandon Drury? The Angels, right?
Yeah.
Well, why are the Angels signing more hitters? Do they need pitchers?
You'd think.
Drury came off a good year.
Yeah, he had a nice. Drury's had a nice couple seasons since his cup of coffee here in New York. Obviously, he's going to the Angels. Well, you're right. They do need pitchers, and they might need a hitter and a pitcher after next season anyway, as we know. But
the Dodgers, they signed Noah Syndergaard. That was
right.
Decent move for him. But another pitcher out there. When he's healthy, he can be good. He's been a really decent starter in the postseason. Nathan Eovaldi.
Still out there, right?
What do you think? What would be good? Where should he wind up? Who has the need?
Yeah,
a team.
And I'll remind you guys, he's only 32 years old. I thought he was a little bit older than that, but when he was a Yankee, he only in his mid-20s. I think he's only 32 right now.
Might be a little bit older,
but I think he's like around 32. But anyway, let's think about what teams are looking for pitching right now. I mean, a lot of teams are looking for pitching, but I know there was that rumor. We haven't even touched on the Yankees Rodon signing, which was officially announced today.
We'll get into that
later. But there was rumor about Eovaldi being a backup plan, which I didn't buy. But I mean,
32. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, he's young. Do you think the Red Sox will pick him back up?
No,
right?
They would have done it already.
I think so too. Speaking of the Red Sox, I see that they still have talks of not going well with Devers for an extension, so I would not be surprised.
Why didn't they just trade him?
They're probably going to wind up doing that. I think that's what you're going to see. They should do it now. And man, does that Betts trade look worse and worse by the day? But anyway, let's see what team would be good. Well, let's see what teams are still out there needing some pitching. Well, let me think of teams here.
The Angels.
The Angels obviously could use Eovaldi. That's a fit. Let's see. Who else in the American League right now?
Seattle doesn't need him.
I'm thinking outside the box here. Who could we think? Tampa's not going to sign him. The Orioles, maybe? Blue Jays?
No. They signed Bassett.
Yeah, they signed Bassett, so that's not going to happen.
Which was a good move. Their rotation on paper is also pretty solid.
Maybe a National League team. Maybe the Giants.
They need to replace.
They need pitching, so maybe the Giants. Maybe the Giants would be a good fit for Eovaldi. Maybe the Cubs are
Carlos Rodon left.
Yeah.
So we'll get into that one.
Yeah.
We've been very critical of Cashman on this show, and by no means is this Yankee offseason complete. They still need a corner outfielder, well, particularly left field. But they waited it out with Rodon, and they got him for less money than what any publication said he would go for. So,
Yeah.
I mean, he got slot. What was it? Under 30 million AAV, which will help.
That's a
It
big win.
helps. They have enough money within the budget to get a left fielder. They thought it was going to be Benintendi. I think once they got to the 5 years, 15 or whatever, 17 and a half that the White Sox gave them, they were out.
Yeah, they were definitely not going to go over 3, I don't think. And especially with the money, if you think about it, the money that they're trying to clear right now, which they're having difficulty with, obviously the Donaldson and the Hicks contracts together is about what, $35 million this year?
Yeah, I would be out on that contract.
I'd be on it too. Maybe he didn't want to stick around. I mean, there was so-called mutual interest, but I think in the Yankees' perspective, they were interested, but they obviously weren't willing to go above that. But the White Sox were, which marked, shockingly to both of us, their largest free agent signing ever in franchise history. So weird. So very, very, very weird. But, I think the best move the White Sox made this offseason or this past season is the change of manager. So we'll see how that goes.
I mean, any manager would have been better than
anybody. I mean,
you're Tony La Russa Hall of Famer. It's fine. Yeah. Like, he's one of the best managers in the history of the game, but he just was not the right fit for that team.
Yeah, not the right fit. His better days were behind him. It's time to go home.
I'm trying to get the remaining free agents that are.
Yeah, so obviously the Rodon contract. Yeah, they did wait. Like I said, they waited him out. A lot of teams were dropping out. Once I saw that, I was pretty confident. I knew what they were doing. They were like, we're not going to give him the extra year just because. We'll wait and see. Everybody dropped out apparently. I heard the Twins were very interested, but looks like nobody was willing to top that. So, and it was mutual, supposed mutual. Like once they said supposedly that was his preferred destination, that kind of loses a lot of leverage, and then obviously they knew that. So yeah, not going to the 7 years or the 200. What he wanted something about 200, 210 or more.
Yeah.
I mean, guy just turned 30. I don't think you want to go further than 6 years with a guy like that anyway. But he's had a good couple of years. Early on in his career, he didn't show this, but he's done better since. So,
how would you feel if the Yankees picked up a guy like Trey Mancini for left field? He does give you versatility. He can play left. He can play right. He can play first.
True.
Rizzo's been known to get banged up, right?
Yeah.
Judge has been
right.
Is he the best left fielder in the history of the game? Probably not. But he does give you the versatility. He did have he has a World Series ring now, so he has experience in the postseason.
Yeah.
He played in this division for his whole career.
Yeah.
Is he a possibility?
Perhaps, yeah. That's a little something people probably aren't talking about, but yeah. I mean, I don't think they're looking for anybody being an upgrade right now over Hicks in the outfield because this man just cannot play the field anymore, as we've discussed many times. But who is this? I mean, are you looking for like I don't think we're looking for another.
I don't want Michael Conforto.
Right, we made that very clear on the show.
Do not want him.
There's a reason why nobody's signed him yet.
I think it's attitude and damaged goods.
Yeah, that's a bad combination. We don't need
the guy that I was looking at when he's never been healthy. Well, he sometimes is healthy. Michael Brantley would have been a perfect fit for the Yankees.
Yeah.
But he went back to Houston.
He would have been a perfect fit for the Yankees anytime in the last 5 years, let's be honest. But
that dude just breaks. He's got the perfect Yankee Stadium. I
don't understand why he wasn't here
field.
Like 5 years ago. Even. I was trying to think because we're already pretty much defensive first at catcher. We're defensive first, even in certain areas. I don't know. Are they looking for a bat? They want a bat. They want a guy who can play the outfield, but they need somebody that can actually do something.
We're not
But like I
bringing back
said, to upgrade
McCutcheon.
from Hicks, I mean, that's pretty easy to do because the man can't do anything on either side of the ball now.
So we're not bringing back McCutcheon.
Right,
That's not happening.
that's not going to happen.
Jackie Bradley Jr. is not happening.
No,
Kiki Hernandez is not happening for us.
No. Who's the move? I mean, I know he said they're not done today. What does that mean? Who are we talking about? I mean, there's been a lot of talk about Reynolds, obviously.
It depends what it's going to take to get.
Yeah,
Reynolds.
That's another thing about exactly that. If they even entertain the idea of trading, because they don't have to, that could be a huge package. And considering we weren't willing to give up a big package for pitching when we needed it last year, I don't see them, trading top prospects for an outfielder when they probably can fill it other ways. What those other ways are, I don't know. Obviously, we finished the season with a guy playing out of position in left field, but I don't know who else is out there. I mean, we don't have anybody really in the minors right now. Although I know I see a lot of people project Dominguez to be a corner outfielder when he comes up. That's not happening this year. That's not going to happen this year. So
you'd have to trade.
You have to
for
trade somebody, yeah. But who is the question? Well, they could trade perhaps for a lesser. Like we're not talking about like a Reynolds mic, but we're talking about maybe.
I was watching I forget the YouTube channel, but it's one of the Yankee YouTube channels. And he was saying Jake McCarthy from the Diamondbacks. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. However, would the Diamondbacks give up a player who's only going to be in his second full year under, salary arbitration control? And what is it going to cost to get that player? And are they truly going to give up on a player after year one?
Mm.
Some of these trades don't make sense. It's always like a guy. Gun to my head that they're going to get Reynolds. They've made a lot of deals with the Pirates, obviously.
Right.
It's going to cost them a shortstop. It just can't be. It can't be any of the ones that are ready for the major leagues right now. It would have to be the Roger Arias, who they drafted recently or they signed. It has to be a Trey Sweeney, one of those guys.
Yeah.
Is Pittsburgh going to do that? Are they going to look for players that are not major league ready?
That's
for Brian Reynolds. Because, like I said, that division, it's not like any of those teams are going out there spending money. They're actually a lot of those teams have been unloading contracts.
Yep.
So, this would be the time for the Pirates to compete. Do they really want to? I mean, I know Reynolds requested the trade, but are they really going to sell low on Reynolds and not get a major league ready position player?
Right, which right now this year would be because he didn't have such a great season last year. So because of that, you're right. They'd have to sell low.
And if I had to give up one of those shortstops, it's going to be Peraza. And the reason why it's Peraza, because he's the only one that can probably only play short and second.
Yeah.
Whereas Cabrera can play the outfield and the infield.
Mm-hmm.
And Volpe's our number one overall prospect, and we didn't give him up for anything else. So why would we give him up for Brian Reynolds?
Right. You didn't give him up for that, for pitching when you needed it. Even win, lose, or draw, even if he flames out, he's going to get a chance to be the man here. So, yeah, I don't see them moving him. And like you said, Cabrera either because of his versatility. So we would probably be talking about a package centered around Peraza and who else, and maybe a couple other guys. They did trade away a lot of not a lot, but several of their lower end pitching prospects last year. Obviously,
well, O'Neill Cruz supposedly got hurt in winter ball, so the Pirates will be looking for a shortstop. Do you think we could trade IKF, eat partial of his salary, trade him over there, He can go play shorter third for the Pirates and we can give him Peraza. We get Reynolds. Would you be
I mean,
okay with
obviously,
that?
yeah, obviously, I'd be okay with that. Everybody, I know any Yankee fans would probably be okay with that right now, but yeah, I mean, if that's all it took, we take the chance. I mean, Reynolds, has he played much left field?
Let's look.
If he can handle it, I mean, with power like that possibility, yeah. I mean,
At this point, it's slim pickings. We might have to call
Yeah.
Brett Gardner up and have him come
we've
back.
been waiting, yeah. Hasn't officially retired. Hey, crazier things have happened.
Let's pull this up. Let's look at his offensive numbers. Let's see if I can.
Okay. So at
See him?
2019, yeah, I see it.
So 2019, 2020 is a season that we kind of
Yeah,
discuss but don't discuss.
2021,
Good year.
numbers.
And I mean, he slumped. He came back down a little bit last year, especially
Still
on the
at
batting
20
average, but still over 800 OPS. I mean,
He still had 27 homers at career high. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So it looks like he's trying to hit for more power, which explains the batting average. And also,
He seems
we
to
don't
hit
know
by a
the
50
shift.
a lot.
We're not going to have the shift
Yeah.
next year.
Looking at some of
I
his
think-
numbers, total bases 20.
I think Rizzo's going to hit like 320 next year.
if he continues to hit the ball where he hit it all last 2 seasons, yeah, I mean, he literally would hit it into the tooth. Rizzo would either hit into the tooth of the shift or hit a fly ball that either is or wasn't going
He
out.
played one game in left last year.
Let's see.
He played 17 in 2021. In 2020, he played 37.
Okay.
And in 2019, he played 70. So he has a history of being a left fielder.
Okay.
This seems to be the guy. But again, it's a lot different playing in New York than it is playing
Pittsburgh, that's for
in
sure.
Pittsburgh.
Oh, drafted by the San Francisco Giants. Of course he was.
Yeah.
But was he 28? Yeah. I mean, that's the only thing that I don't know. Well, I don't see another person on the trade market right now that would really fit, or who is on the trade market. I guess we'll find out now that all the big names have come off the board. 6 million. Let's see. What's he making?
He's
this
not a
year?
free agent until 2026. So you
That's a big
have
thing.
control.
So he's making around. Oh, okay. Yeah, he got that. That would be the key, and that's why he's going to cost you the control. And the Yankees tend to like that when they get players. They want players with control, young players with control. So it does seem to fit. I don't know how quickly the trade market's going to develop right now, but as like I said, most of these guys.
I
come
mean,
off the
there
board.
hasn't been that many trades,
No,
really.
very very quiet on the trade market. We do have a couple of, some free agents left. I don't know if they're going to just move through them right now that everybody else is gone, or we might wait a little bit. We've only got under 100 days, I think, to opening day. So
let's look at the Yankees farm system.
yes, I know we've told you we weren't just going to discuss the Yankees, but it's relevant, guys.
It's the aforementioned system
Yeah.
for trades. It's talking. I'm thinking I'm the Pittsburgh Pirates GM, right?
Right.
I'm gonna ask for Peraza.
Sure. You're going to ask high. They're not going to even ask for Volpe or, obviously, because they know they're not going to, what they're going to say. So, yeah, I'm going to ask for Peraza. Let's see what else we got on here.
So they're probably gonna ask. I'll tell you how this conversation is gonna start.
Herrera.
We want Peraza. We want Austin Wells, and
Right.
we want Luis Hill coming off of his shoulder issues. Would you do it knowing that you just signed Rodon and you have Herman? You have these emergency options at your disposal now.
Right. That's a big difference to know that versus a guy who's coming off surgery, like you said, who only had a couple starts here a year ago, had some potential, but would I do it? I mean, it's a need they have right now, so yeah, I guess I would do it.
You're gonna have to trade Peraza, Wells, Heel,
Yeah,
and as part of the deal, you tell the Pirates, hey, we're gonna pay X amount of IKF salary.
right.
You're
Which
gonna
is
take them. You're gonna put them on your 40-man.
mhm.
Is that a deal? Is that a done deal? You're Brian Cashman. Are you doing that deal?
With lack of other options, probably. Because in that case, Wells, I don't think Wells is ever going to make it up here. And if he does make, I mean, I'm not saying he's not making the majors. I just don't see him making it on the Yankees. And he's probably going to. I've heard some people say he's probably not even going to become a catcher. A lot of guys move off of that. So Hill is interesting. I don't think.
Look, the Yankees are loaded at short.
They're loaded at short.
2, 3.
We don't. Yeah, that's obviously they could trade one of those shortstops in their
And
sleep.
not listed here is Cabrera because he's not considered a prospect anymore.
He's on
they got Vargas.
Yeah, they're pretty loaded when it comes to that. They pretty much stockpiled shortstops over the last. Let's see, Pereira's downfielder, Sweeney's still there. Yeah, Double-A.
You might have to give up Everson Pereira in the trade.
Yeah,
it might be Peraza, Pereira, Heel, and IKF for Reynolds.
Right. I mean,
you do it. You do it. You know you have this guy eventually. You have Dominguez.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have to move a lot of these guys anyway. So, I mean, even Pereira, like, is this guy gonna make it up here at the big league level with the Yankees right now? Outside of somebody's injured, or is he gonna wind up another Florial?
Sure.
So that's the things you got to think about. I mean, come on, we've heard some stuff over the years. I mean, there was remember 2 years ago there was a big hubbub when they traded Hoy Park and got was that when they got Clay Holmes from the Pirates and they were freaking out. Oh my God, Hoy Park, who played in one game for us, and I think like the other guys now they got rid of. So like I think everybody that was involved in the Clay Holmes trades is not even on the Pirates anymore. So I know we picked up another guy off them that we just had to get off the 40-man. So that's interesting. They have that guy. I saw the beater. That's the guy they got for Gallo.
What?
How did Joey Gallo get $11 million? By the way, guys, that's another question.
Well, let's ignore that. How did the Braves win every single trade that they do?
I don't know, man. They got obviously
the A's
really good scouting.
The A's didn't trade Sean Murphy in the season, which was a mistake.
Big mistake.
They wait till the off season to trade him. And you would think, because he's the best player in the trade, they would have got the best return. They got the worst return of that 3-team trade.
So bizarre.
They got Astari Perez, not even one of the best prospects the Brewers had. Manny Pena, who's like 37 years old. Kyle Muller, who is like the 8th starter on the Braves. Freddie Tornak. They got a bunch of pitchers. They got controllable arms. That's all they got.
It's almost as if that they're just getting rid of these guys just because they don't want to pay anybody, right?
The A's got the Braves ended up getting Sean Murphy. So now they got a better defensive catcher.
Yeah.
Because Darno and William Contreras, they were not defensive darlings. Right. Darno can split time. He can DH, whatever you're going to do with him. How did the Braves just win every single trade that they do?
I mean, in this case, it helps that the A's are, like I said, they're just selling off. They're pretty much, like in the movie Major League when she's just trying to make them lose so they can move away. Maybe that's what's going on here. They can't wait to move the team out of Oakland, so we're just gonna cut rid of everybody on the team. We don't care who we get back, because it doesn't matter. We'll wait until we move, and then we'll try to rebuild the team back up. Yeah,
the Giants added Sean Manaea and Ross Stripling That does not make up for Carlos
No.
Rodon at all.
Well, I mean, they kind of knew that, like when they signed him to that deal last year with an opt out after one, they knew if he had a good year, he was going to be gone. So they probably should have traded him when they had the chance last year.
So the Padres.
They did not.
Now, why? I like Sander, but you gave him 11 years. He's
Yeah.
going to be 41 years old. What are you doing?
It seems like they're just stretching out as many years as possible just to like mess with the AAV, I guess. I don't know.
Because they know that the ceiling's going to go up,
Yeah.
I guess. But eventually you're going to have to pay. Like, you're going to play that game, and then all of a sudden you're going to be like, oh, I can't sign anyone now.
Yeah, but it seems like this offseason, these owners are like, they don't care. They're giving up longer like than you would expect. They're not worried about it. They want the person now, and they're going to deal with the consequences later. I mean, you never thought the Yankees would go to 9 years with Judge even, but
So the Cubs signed Tyone, they signed Dansby Swanson. Those were all severe overpays.
Yeah, that's how this market has went. Where you got middling guys making pretty good money. Although I wouldn't call Dansby a middling guy, but
Jameson Tyone, he was the number 2 overall pick in 2010. Who was the first pick in that draft? Let's see Frank's trivia skills. 2010 Major League Baseball draft. Tyone was second.
I know that was the year. That wasn't the year Trout got picked, right? No, it was a year later.
No. Trout didn't go in the first. I think Trout went in the second.
Yeah, the second round. That wasn't. I was saying I know that wasn't the year. Let's see, 2010 first pick. I should know this, and I know it.
You want a hint?
Yeah, go ahead.
Prodigy.
Oh, Harper?
Yes.
Duh.
Who was the third pick?
Swanson.
Third pick was Manny Machado.
Oh, why do you think Swanson?
So Tyone was sandwiched in between those two guys. So Tyone's had a decent career, just obviously not.
Yeah, he obviously had his surgery. He came back. He had first year at the Yankees. He started off well, then kind of petered out. Or actually, it was the reverse. And this year, it was the reverse of that. He started off really well, struggled a bit in the summer, finished okay.
So the Cubs spent money, which is nice to see. They signed those two guys. They also signed Cody Bellinger on a 1-year deal.
Right.
The Cubs might be decent. People are going to say, oh, well, we lost Wilson Contreras. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not a big Wilson Contreras fan. He's not good behind the plate. He is an offensive catcher. He's very much like Gary Sanchez, who is, by the way, still a free agent.
Shockingly enough. Yeah. Honestly, I think in today's game, like you don't need to have an offensive first catcher. I think it'd be more valuable. And I say this as knowing we have the guy who turned out to be the highest rated defensive catcher in Jose,
in baseball.
But, yeah.
And he won the Platinum Glove. So he was the best overall fielder in the American League.
How about Trevino? But yeah, as far as control, I think I agree with you on there. Obviously, his bat is nice, but not the best defensive catcher. So
I guess for me, still looking at free agency, the oddest deal was the Rays Zach Eflin.
Yeah,
the 3 years, $40 million.
Someone explain that one, guys. We're still trying to figure this one out.
They jumped the market on Zach Eflin.
That's bizarre. Like unless they really wanted him. What do they know? I know the Rays are good at this stuff. So what do they know? I'd love to talk to the powers that be.
So their rotation, obviously, they have McClanahan, who I love. I think he's a great pitcher. Glasnow, who will be back fully next year. Rasmussen, Springs, and Eflin. That's your 5 starters. It's really not that bad of a rotation once again for
as usual
Tampa. That division's gonna it's a buzzsaw.
Yeah.
The worst team, honestly, on paper, is Boston.
Yeah.
But why we said this several times on this show?
For some reason.
Why haven't the Orioles opened up their pocketbooks yet again? They have such an opportunity here to go out and just they're literally like like they should have signed Carlos Correa.
Yeah. He'd literally be a difference maker for them. Not saying he's not for the Mets, but not to this level. It's literally they're about two big players away from being a legit threat. And look what they did last year with what they got now. That's a year after losing 100 games.
Have they signed any free agents? I don't remember.
It's kind of confounding. I think we talked about this on one of our earliest episodes before they were doing well. You would think
they signed Adam Frazier.
Frazier.
He's an okay move. They signed Kyle Gibson for the rotation.
Yeah.
They're not major moves.
No.
Why can't go sign Evaldi?
Yeah, I said before, he'd be a good fit there. Something. And I know it's weird that we're advocating them get better in our division, but yeah, I mean, we want to see it, and it's like,
well, we see them less times this year.
We do see them less times this year. It's true.
Conveniently enough, we see the American League East less
than we normally would. So interesting. The new schedule. We did a whole episode on that.
They signed Michael Givens for their bullpen.
They're an interesting. Like they're pretty close. Like they're
going to call up Grayson Rodriguez.
One big move at least they could have made. One.
They figured that like Gunnar Henderson, these kids are going to come up and rake. But I mean, it'd be nice to have a veteran there that can show them the way. Besides Cedric Mullins.
Right. I mean, they probably weren't going to break the bank for Correa, but he would have fit there, like you said.
Or Dansby, like somebody.
Somebody. They could have. I mean, what did he get? 170. They could have done that.
177. Yeah. Or even a guy like a Cody Bellinger, like 1 year deal. You give him like 20-something million. Oh, Matt Harvey's a free agent.
As we talked before, people just don't spend the money. It's so strange. A good baseball.
Let me remind you, Baltimore was 83-79 last year. They were not the last place team. The Red Sox were.
Yeah, don't you want to improve a little bit? I mean, in a league where, I mean, it's a tough division, but you've got multiple wild cards now. So what are we doing here?
I don't know.
I don't know. I guess
again, go subscribe to the show. Either this YouTube channel if you haven't, hit the subscribe button. Hit the subscribe button on Spotify. We'll have all the links, description video. Any parting words, Frank?
Well, it's been a wild off season, like we knew it would be. Obviously today, some crazy news. Yeah, obviously a long way to go for opening day, so still interested to see what we're going to do. So I hope everyone out there enjoys your holiday season, no matter what you're celebrating. And if you're not, enjoy your weekend. But thanks again for all the support.
Festivus.
Yes, Festivus, all of it. Why not? And we can all celebrate together.
All right, guys.
And hope you guys enjoy. Like I said, thanks again for all the support. Like, share, subscribe. Subscribe to us on Spotify or your local podcast app, whatever that might be. Hopefully, we should be on there. So thanks again.
JML Experience. You'll have this show. You'll have our wrestling shows. Maybe some other shows in the future. Who knows?
Let us know what you'd like to hear about.
Yeah. Take care. Have a good night. Peace.